Hello everyone, this is Crystal Potthoff, and today I want to show you how I turn my Pysanky into cute little ornaments with these little hangers on it. And I'm going to show you how I attach these hangers, or they're called findings, and some tricks to doing that, some things to think about when you do that. And then I'll show you this cool metal tree I have that I'm going to display these on. So these are all chicken eggs. I have put these on chicken eggs and I've put them on goose eggs to hang things from them. They make bigger ones of these for bigger eggs, but I've never tried to hang an egg from it. Mainly they're done to, maybe cover up the hole on the bottom. But I'm just going to show you here on chicken eggs how I do this. Now, these are eggs. They're breakable. You're going to treat these as you would any glass or fine heirloom ornament. You want it to be on your tree securely, probably in a position where little hands or furry feet can't get to it. So I'll put it that way. Or even maybe big hands and big feet. Anyway, so what you have to do when you attach these, and I'll show you how I attach it with the glue, but if your egg has a front and a back, so like this is a front, and this is it has two sides to it. So I want to put the top so that it's going, the loop part is going this way on the egg. That way, when I put the hanger through it, the egg will hang on the tree with this side facing or that side facing. You can get these where they'll turn around if you put it on the egg right. They're a little tricky to use. It's the same concept where you glue it on the egg, but you have to glue it so that the twisty part is inside of a hole. A little more complicated. I'm not going to show that here, but that is definitely something you can do. So I'm going to show you how I put these on here. I have bought these from Ukrainian Gift Shop. I have bought them from Pysanky USA, and I have bought them from Ukrainian Accessories. They come in all different kinds and shapes and sizes. You do want to make sure you have something that will securely attach, to the egg. So you got a bit of glue on there. Some of these have been on here for, I'll say 15 years, and they're still on there. So if you're using a good glue, it's going to stay on there. All right, so let's get started with how do you attach these onto the egg. I have this great big package of these. And so I have them in silver, I have them in gold, I have them with different kinds of different shapes. So different kinds of things. You pick out what you think would look nicest on your egg. So I have two here that I'm going to put the findings on them. Now, once you put it on here, it's on here. It's not going to come off without damaging the egg. So make sure you want it to be an ornament. So I'm going to do these two. This one is, I'm going to call it non-directional. It looks good from any angle. It doesn't really have a front and a back. It also doesn't really have a top and a bottom. So you could attach the finding at the big end of the egg or at the little end of the egg. Doesn't really matter. This one, I guess you could say it doesn't really have a top and a bottom, but it definitely has a front and a back. So this one, we want to be a little more cognizant of the placement of the finding than on this one. It doesn't matter quite as much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick out what finding I think would look best, and then I'll show you how I glue it on there. So the disadvantage to having all those findings is it took me a while to decide which findings I wanted to put on these eggs. But I have decided I'm going to use this gold one for this egg. And I made sure that it was snug on the top of it, that it fit nicely on the top of it. And then I am going to use this silver one for here. And I kind of did the same thing. I held and made sure that it was touching the egg in all places. I had some that underneath it had like little knobby things on it, so it didn't sit flat on the egg. It would if I did it over a hole, but I'm not on these two. Now, one thing before I go on, if you want your egg to have a ribbon on it, it's really best to put the ribbon through the little finding before you glue it on the egg. I found, for me, it was very hard to get that ribbon on there once it was glued on the egg. So if I want a ribbon, I do that. You don't have to have a ribbon. These are big enough for a hook to fit through them. And you do want to make sure that the hole is indeed open on here. So see, I can get the toothpick through there. Every once in a while you run into one where this hole isn't open. So you want to make sure that that hole is open so you can get the ribbon or the hook or whatever you're going to do on it. What I do, I take my egg carton and, oops, about fell off the table there. I need just a few more things on this workspace. Okay, there we go. So now I'm going to take my eggs and I'm going to set them in here like this. And there's my two little findings. And now I am going to take my glue. I'm going to get a tissue and I'm going to move. You probably can't see it, but it's a little crowded here on my desk right now. I'm going to get everything out of the way that could possibly get glue on it that I don't want to get glue on it. All right, so now I'm going to take my glue. I use E6000. It will, if it squishes out, it's okay. It dries clear. You don't see it. This is a really good glue. So I'm going to just squeeze a little bit of it on this tissue here. This is normally how I do it, and then I just fold the tissue up and throw it away. You don't need a lot. You're just going to need a little bit. And if you need more, you squeeze more out. Now, like I said, this one has a front and a back. So I want this loop to go, it's going to go like on this one, the loop goes like that. So if I think of this is my line going around the egg, dividing it in half, the loop goes the opposite way. So we're going to put, and if I knew where my tweezers were, I'd go get them because it'd be easier to hold this, but this will work. So I put a little bit on a toothpick and I smear it all over not the egg. I smear it on the finding. I find that works better for me. All right. Then I want the loop going like that. Looking at my other one. Okay. This is how I want the loop. So I'm going to push it and get it where it looks like it's in the center and press it down just a little bit. Make sure it's on there really good and tight. Yep, you've covered up part of the design. That's just what happens. Hopefully that wasn't like the most perfect thing on the egg, but you know, it happens. All right, so we've got that on there. Now this one being, doesn't really have a front and back, so it doesn't really matter. And I suppose I could put it on the bottom. Yeah, what the heck, let's do that. Okay, so same thing. I'm going to scoop up some of my glue, and I want to make sure I get it on here really good. Okay, I need more glue. It's going to take 2 hands. Okay, there we go. I try to put the lid back on this glue right away. All right, and now I have it all over my fingers too. That happens a lot. Okay, I'm going to smear it all over this. Okay, well, it's already on my fingers. I guess it doesn't matter. Smear it all over it. Right like that. Get some more on there. You really want to make sure you have it on the edges of it. Okay, now I'm going to put this on here, and it doesn't really matter how it goes because it doesn't really have a front and a back, although I am going to have it go like that. Okay, so I'm going to push that down. Make sure it's secure. So now they're on there, and they're just going to sit for 24 hours. I like it to sit for 24 hours till I know that it's really set. It probably, after about 15 minutes, it's probably not going to move, but I do let it sit that long before I try to put anything on it that it will hang from. So these are on here. You just leave them in my egg carton, and and then what I do also is I will come back like every few minutes and look at these to make sure they haven't slid off. I used to have that problem when I used tacky glue because it was a little more runny, but the E6000 is it's a more gel-like, so I haven't really had a problem with it moving after I stick it onto the egg. So those both look pretty good. So we're going to leave those on there, and we'll come back in 24 hours and hang them on my new cute little looking egg tree. So here we have our Pysanky with all the attachments on it. You can see I actually did several of them. And so what I want to show you now is how I put the hooks on them. It's not real rocket science here, but you do want to be careful so that you don't break off the topper. I'm going to use a hook that looks like this. And what I do is I thread it through the hole, and then I move it through there, and then it hangs like that. And as I was explaining in the other video, that when you have an egg that has a front and a back, you want the hole to go, be facing this way on your border. That way when you hang your egg, you see the front and the back. I'll do the other one, and then I will show you how I display them on my tree. And these come in different colors. And you don't have to use a big one like this. You can use a smaller one. Whatever you would like to use. Easy peasy. All right, let's go put these on our tree. One other thing I forgot to mention, if you want to store them in a carton, which I do, you just want to be careful because you have these extra little toppers on here. So when you put the lid on it, it might not shut all the way. So just be careful. You can position them so that maybe they're sticking through those holes or kind of leaning toward the side. I do that. And you don't want to, smash it down. So just be careful when you store them. So here is the super cute stand that I got for my eggs. And briefly show you how this goes together. So this is the base. Let me move these out of here. And then it has this stand and it just screws on there like that. You don't need a special tool. You just twist it with your hand, right like that. And then it has a number of branches that go on it. I'll call them branches. There's 15 in total, but I don't think they're all going to fit and be able to see it in the camera. So one of them goes here, and this one goes here. These two kind of alternate. And then the really tall one goes here. So it's going to go like that all the way around this base. It's real easy to put together. So I'm going to put this together, and then I'll come back and show you how I have it decorated with all of my Pysanky. And here we have the tree with all of my pretty ornaments on it. I know there's a little bit of a glare, and you're kind of seeing the rest of the house in the background, but it turned out so cute. I love it. I love the way it turned out, and that the eggs fit, all of them in there in between one another, and they look like the display is fabulous. I'm so pleased with it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope this has inspired you with new ways to display your Pysanky.